Hey there YouTube, XtremeTrainz here, and yep, you guessed it, once again, months after it hit the USA and other parts of the world, Thomas Minis Wave 1 for 2018 has finally started to flood the shelves of Australian stores, and as you can see, I've bought all the brand new items from this wave. So again, if you want a complete checklist of the minis, I would recommend checking out if you go to Thomas Minis Checklist. There's a really good website that has all the different waves from all over the world, all the different combinations and engines. I'm not going to be talking about the engines we've had before in this review. If you want to see any particular engines, find out which wave they were in, go to my review of the wave when they first appeared, because I don't want to waste everyone's time talking about models we have already seen. So, in this review, we're looking at the brand new Wave 1 2018 Thomas Minis. What are we waiting for? Let's do it. The first thing I want to do is look at the brand new packaging for 2018. So this is the now the fourth year of minis. I'm glad they've got new packaging. I think that's really good. I think that it's important for them to kind of rebrand the minis so they look fresh on the shelves, look interesting. I think what's curious is that this logo is different and this color scheme is different, and they've actually applied that to some old sets. So I've seen the glow-in-the-dark 5-pack is still available, and some stores have started stocking it with this color scheme, implying that it's something which is actually continuing to 2018, which I didn't know. I think the choice of this design is interesting. I understand that they want to make it exciting and stylized and fun. I just think they picked some really weird models to put on there. Like, I don't know. I wouldn't have picked, particularly like these ones. These are all old minis we've seen before, except the James, I think. So I think it would make more sense to go for newer versions of the engines, but that's just me. On the back you have the same blah blah blah. Yep, you've got the code numbers which range from like very small, these are all hundreds. There's like some that are like very small and some that are very big. I can't find any when I'm talking about it. Rip, but anyway, that's okay. These are all 200s. Yeah, there are some that are quite small and there are some that are huge, so I don't understand that. Again, look at the codes online if you want to know those. So there's that. Alright, if we open one up, which I did earlier, you can see the little brochure thing that you get, and it's like this. Interesting, again, we get a different kind of view of the engines, bit of a different layout. Interesting they've got these ones on here, even though you actually can't get them in Australia because of the licensing, which is weird because this is like the international packaging with all the different languages on it. So I don't know why they've done that. That to me is a bit weird. Also, Henry is like weird, look at him. So all the other engines are like this, and Henry A has no face, or no painted face, or painted sides, but he also is facing the wrong way, like he's not a... The other ones look like photos, and he's like a CGI render that obviously went real bad. Wild. They also haven't listed him as a returning favourite, even though he is a returning favourite, so I don't understand what's going on there. But then they've got Shane as a returning favourite, and he's not a returning favourite. And again, you can see there's like a difference. Like some of these guys are CGI, but he's definitely a photo. So yeah, look, it's all a bit wild. Wild. All right, let's look at the actual toys. Okay, so these are the new engines from Wave 1 of 2018. Let's start with the classics, as I tend to do. As you can see, this is the only new classic we get in this wave, and it's Classic Shane, which is really exciting. I think this is a really interesting looking model. Shane's a very big engine, so they've kind of had to do a lot of squashing, like a lot of squashing to fit him into this scale, but I think they've done a pretty decent job. They've captured a lot of the details that are important. Obviously the front is incorrect. Like, he doesn't actually have a big coupling thing and buffers. They've tried to put that buffer beam thing he has there, tried. I think they've done a pretty decent job. They've captured all the important details here. They've done a reasonable job of trying to compact his tender down into this compartment section thing here. Yeah, I think this is pretty decent for a minis effort. It's obviously quite weird and funny looking, but you know who it is straight away. Once again, the colors look a bit more washed out on this camera, I think, than they actually are, but this is definitely like a darker green than it looks. In terms of the face, I actually think they've done a really good job with his face. I actually think it kind of captures his face maybe even better than the Adventures ones does, which is really interesting. I just think the way they've got those lines there around the smile and the mouth gives him kind of like that age that I think he has about him. I don't know. Let me know, but I actually think this is a better face than the one that was on the Adventures train, but that might just be me. Yeah, so a cool one. Interesting thing to note here, though, is that we don't have the names of the engines underneath anymore. We just have this serial code here, And we've got the made in Thailand. Oh, made in China now. Oh, I forgot they keep changing factories. Back to being made in China. And we've got copyright Mattel and copyright Thomas. So there's actually no names on these anymore, which is interesting. And a weird choice considering how we've moved towards names and then we moved away from them. Interesting thing to note about my Shane is that he actually has a bent wheel set, axle. Let me just try and get this to focus so you can actually see what I'm talking about. Yeah, you can see that back one is like a bit bent. I don't know if it was bent like from the factory or if it happened in the box somewhere. I bought these when I went shopping, grocery shopping, so it's possible he got squashed by a carton of milk or something. But either way, it's the first time I've seen that on any of my engines or noticed it at least, so that's something to look out for. Alright, classics aside. Next, you get 3 of the back to school theme in this wave, which I think is pretty neat. The first one you can see is obviously meant to be like a school bus, American school bus, themed salty, and I think this looks really nice. I think it works really well. Just want to show all the details off. You can see they've done a really good job of kind of combining Salty's normal details and, like, for example, making them into windows for the bus. I think the fact they left this black outline is a little bit weird. Like, I know it's the door, but it's a bit weird. Breaks up the visual style a little bit, but otherwise, I think it's pretty cool. Again, my Salty had all these scratches on his face. I'll try and get him so you can see them. Yep, there you can go. You can see there's some chips out of his paint. Don't really know why, but there you go. And I think his face is printed a little bit lopsided. So that's wild. Yeah, that's that. You got the stop sign there. Quite a cool looking Salty. Again, as I've already talked about, I think there's a sweet spot between, you know, you either have to be totally different or you have to be near the same but not quite. And I think using yellow for the Salty, both his design and his other color scheme, which does have yellow in it, is cool. Next one is Toby. I think Toby's another good one as well. He's like meant to be a bookcase or bookshelf or something. Obviously not doing a very good job because the books are everywhere. So that's unideal. But otherwise, very nice. Again, they've done a good use of the color scheme. Like the sneaky use of the blue. Maybe that's a throwback to him in the Railway series being blue. Again, you can see a lot of these are very loose. Like the screw that holds them together is not very well screwed together. And this is a really badly printed one. Like, look how much... He's just so lopsided. And that is a fail. Like, really lopsided. But anyway, nice model. I support it. The last one is like this back to school Sydney. I think that's Sydney from the face. Again, you can't tell because there's no name underneath. Yeah, I like this one as well. Nice use of the color scheme. Again, using the blue. Clever. The grey. The white's very striking. Yeah, it's good. I like this theme. Great work. The next one is the camouflage, or camo. And it's the first of 3 bells that comes in this wave. So you get Classic Belle, you get Camo Belle, and you also get the Fantasy Aqua Belle. So I don't know who makes the decisions of engines that go in this wave, but they need to not put the same engine in multiple times in the same wave. That's dumb. You can see here, boy, that doesn't look it's attached very well. RIP quality control. Otherwise, though, I think, again, this is clever. I like the use of her other color scheme. Like, her color scheme has blue in it. They've used that quite well. Again, the colors, I think, are appearing a little bit lighter than they actually are, but love different colored wheels. Love the complexity of this design. I actually thought it was water at first, but, I mean, that also works. So, yep, fan, good. The next one is listed as back to school on here, but it's actually not. It's actually part of the monkey theme, which I had to Google because I was like, this doesn't look quite like back to school. And it's not. It's monkey theme. It's monkey Gator. It's an interesting one. His eyes are looking sideways. I don't know if they normally do that. Yeah, look, this one I think is a little bit too the same. Like, it's a bit like normal Gator. There's not enough different about it. I also, just as I've explained, I don't really like animal-themed ones. I think a lot of the animal ones are, like, not that great. So I think this is going to go in the not that great animal ones category. I don't know, maybe you like it. The next 3 are the fantasy mythical creatures. So there's like Mermaid Belle here, and this one looks awesome. I love it. You got the glitter wheels, you got a glitter transparent running board, blue here, black, yep. Fan of this one. I like the printing along here. They've covered nearly every surface, which is really good. It's even on her face, like, yep. 10 out of 10, this is a good one. I like it a lot. I love the transparent, whatever you want to call it, stuff they do on these. And there's a lot on her, so points for that. This is meant to be, I think, like a Cyclops Porter. But like, and it's cool. I like it, just ignoring the face for a second. I like all of this. I like these colors again. They're kind of close to Porter, but they're not exactly the same. Nice details, nice the way it's printed. But like, what? Like, just, like, what is that? Like, without looking up that it's Cyclops, I would not have worked out that it's supposed to be an eye. But it's meant to be an eye, and it just doesn't work. His face is, like, molded there, and they've painted the eye on his nose and given him a monobrow. Like, that's stuff out of Nightmares. That's what that is. Take away the face. The print is really cool. They could have done, like, a Flintstones. That's what it reminds me of. But, the face just wrecks it. So I think that was dumb. The rest of it's good, though. Last thing in the fantasy theme, another one with like lots of clear, glittery stuff is really good, is Rosie, and I think she's meant to be like a unicorn. Again, really cool. I love the frosty white glitter for this boiler part, smoke box, and also her actual wheels. I think it looks awesome. It's a really good job. The white is very nice. Again, they've used the pink quite well, even if that's a throwback to her old color scheme, because she's not pink anymore. I think it's really nice. I really like the printing. Is very fine. It's very, you know, it looks like a watercolor like painting. It's really, really nice. And I think this is one that people are going to really like, especially if you're a My Little Pony fan. This is the closest you're going to get to Thomas and My Little Pony happening at the same time, I think. So take it and run. And then last but not least is the Neon Splatter series, which is one I'm personally quite excited for. If I can get it to focus. Yay! And this is obviously Stanley. Cool, I like it. They've done a good job with keeping him, again, close enough, but they've done stuff like change the wheel, they've changed the running board, they've put I love it when they do stuff with the faces. This one, he's got the paint splatter on his face, which looks really cool, and also over the rest of his body, which I think looks really nice. So this one, again, good, I like it. It's neat. So that's my look at the Wave 1 of 2018 new Thomas Minis. I think most of these are pretty good. The only ones I don't really like are this one, and like the face of this one is pretty bad. But the rest of them I actually think are pretty cool. Some of the selections are weird, like why we have 3 Bells in the one wave makes no sense. But, you know, just don't buy the ones you already have, or don't buy the repeats. That's fine. In terms of the quality control, as you can see, I got quite a few ones that had some weird stuff going on. And looking at that brochure really shows that quality control is not good. If you saw my review of the Thomas Wood Gordon, you would know how that feels, and it's not a fun time. So that's something which is problematic, especially because when they release these, re-release these without the metal weight in them, they went down in price. So they went down to $2.50 in Australia as like the normal price, but they're back to $3 now. So I don't know. That's when I'm like, if you're going to make something cheaper, and this is my same thing I talked about with Thomas Wood, if you want to make something cheaper, that makes me sad, because it probably doesn't look as good, it probably doesn't play as well. But you've got to at least actually make it cheaper for the customer as well. And this has actually gotten more expensive again, even though they haven't put the metal back in. It's still all plastic through here. And you could see there's starting to be a weird stuff going on. This is, I think, the most errors I've ever had in one wave. 1, 2, that weird thing going on there. 3, the bent axle. 4. So that to me is a problem. And Mattel really needs to get on top of that, because people are going to stop paying money for their toys if they keep having mistakes in them. Particularly because these aren't, it's not very complicated. It shouldn't be that hard, I don't think, to make these kind of toys. To make these kind of toys good. And these are meant to be like, you know, premier toys, so there really shouldn't be any mistakes in those. But otherwise, overall, pretty happy with them. They're keeping me interested in minis, which is pretty hard to do, considering it's kind of been the same thing over and over again. And again, even though I keep saying we need more rolling stock, there really hasn't been a lot of rolling stock. So, Mattel, if you're watching these videos, rolling stock. And don't keep putting in exclusive packs that no one can buy. Thanks. Alright, you guys, let me know your thoughts. Do those cool things on YouTube. Like, subscribe, comment, blah, 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 blah. You know how it goes by now. I'm not going to tell you, because you already know. As always, thanks for watching. That's a good time for. This is XtremeTrainz.